You're back with the Mason clan, and in this episode it sees us in Australia. We're heading there for a month, and at the start of the trip we're having a weekend in Sydney, and at the end of our trip we're having another weekend there, and this episode covers that time. We flew with Cathay Pacific from Manchester, England, with a 3-hour stopover in Hong Kong before flying on to Sydney. Our hotel was recommended on an Australian Travellers Facebook group, and it's in the Rocks area of the city. We even got a view of the Harbour Bridge as soon as we arrived. After 22 hours of travelling, we slept like a log, but the next morning we were up and ready to go, grabbing breakfast at a nearby coffee house. We then wandered onto the wharf across the way, which led us round to the Harbour Bridge, and we just didn't stop. We were round then onto Circular Quay, and look out for these little fellas wandering around. They're known locally as bin chickens. Whilst admiring the Sydney Opera House, there was a couple trying to take a selfie, so we offered to take a couple of photos for them. They then returned the favour with about 100 different photos in different angles, but at least we got the shot we wanted. We paused at the bar in the Sydney Opera House for a drink whilst watching those crazy enough to walk over the bridge, before wandering back through the city towards our hotel. Now, just at the back of our hotel is the observatory on the hill, and we took a walk up there. There's an amazing view of the city, and we highly recommend this. So just down there is Welsh Bay, towards where we had breakfast, and coming up is our hotel. I told you it was well located. The evening saw us heading back to Circular Quay, and we had a booking at Squires Landing, which is located between the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. So you've got a perfect view whichever way you look. Our hotel was booked through booking.com, and we'd also use these to book some of our excursions too. In the background is our hotel, the Hotel's Palisades, which we had a recommended off an Australian Facebook group. And in the other direction, just behind me, just there, is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So we're in an area called the Rocks. It's really well located for visiting the city. So today we're off on a boat ride. I'm not sure how the rain's going to affect that. We picked up a coffee on the way before heading back down to Circular Quay. This is where all the passenger ferries go from, the cruise terminal is down there, and our boat is leaving from there. Although the morning had been drizzly, it did start to clear up a bit, and we were able to see everything that the commentary was on about on our boat trip. The lunch was actually quite good as well. There was hot and cold options with a bar downstairs for drinks. And of course, we had to celebrate going under the Harbour Bridge. Once back on dry land, we came across a few more things to look at in the city before we headed back to our hotel, having a little pit stop at a market underneath the Harbour Bridge where we sampled some gin and wine. Our final night was spent around Darling Harbour, and we had a really good meal there. There's some nice hotels and restaurants on this side of the city, but it was an early night because the next day we were collecting our camper van. After 3 weeks in the camper van, we'd made it as far as Brisbane. Now we'd got a flight booked back down to Sydney, which was 1 hour 12 minutes, and a daylight flight meant we got to see the city from the air. We're staying at Coogee Beach in a guest house, and this used to be the home of the Jones family, who owned some big shops out here. Whilst we were in Sydney, Charles and Camilla came out, everyone was asking if we were going to see them, like we knew them personally. Now back to Coogee Beach, it's a lovely area. It was a bit of a walk from our property. There are bikes around that you can pick up, but we used Uber. On one of the days, our family came and took us to the grounds of Alexandria. We'd have never have found this place. It's quite quirky with a few different eateries, and there was a petting farm, there was cakes you could buy, and it has a different theme each month. Whilst we was there, it was lavender, and we enjoyed a great meal and a deconstructed mocha. Probably the windiest day of the year. There's still people swimming in Iceberg's pool. The beach has actually been closed for surfing. My God, it's windy. Bit choppy. We couldn't come all this way without heading to Bondi Beach, and we got there via a bus. Whilst we were there, the Sculptures by the Sea trail was on, which we followed, and it's basically Sculptures by the Sea. Heading back towards the beach, we stopped at Bondi Iceberg Bar, where we had some lunch and watched those crazy people in the pool. Getting the bus back to our guest house, we then had the challenge of packing everything back in our bags. Next stop, Singapore. Farewell, Sydney. We've had a great time.